It's got the screen on the radio itself.
Yeah, but if you want to see it, if anything worthwhile, you put it on a big screen.
Okay, so you don't have to run a separate computer with that one.
I think you have to run the separate computer. You don't have to run it when they're together like that as one piece. If you want to see it on the big screen, I believe you do.
KM6CQ.
And Dan could answer that.
Hello, guys. How's it going tonight? Sorry, we had kind of a late supper.
That's okay.
No problem, Dan.
Make it.
Nice to hear you guys. You all sound good.
You do too, Dan.
All right. Well, thanks to John's wonderful headset.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Expertise in engineering.
So Dan, Scott was asking if you buy the M version with the front panel, do you need a computer to see it on a big screen?
No.
Really?
No, you can use a computer to see it on the big screen, or you can go directly to the HDMI output.
All right. Well, that's something new.
Okay, go to the HDMI output to a screen?
To a 1080p screen.
Any 1080p screen?
Yes.
He would work perfect.
Right.
Yes.
That's what I use.
Well, I mean, that sounds like the way to go, right, Dan?
If that's what you want, that's a great way to go. If you want knobs and a screen on the radio, absolutely.
I got to look that thing over now.
The price is right.
There's just, there's lots of options, Scott. I mean, you can buy the detached front panel, which is the same thing as bolted to the radio, all for about the same price. Or you can just buy the server version like I did and use an iPad, and that works great, or your phone. There's lots of different options.
I know you've been doing some live, I've been watching that, live feeds. How are you doing that?
Oh, by the way, I'm streaming it right now. It's live as we speak. I'm using I'm sorry, Scott. I'm using just an application, basically an application that takes the feeds, mixes them together, and puts them back out into I think it's an MV4, and then I send that to YouTube, and YouTube streams it, and I just send you guys a link to YouTube is all I do.
That was interesting. I'm glad you did it.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of a fun thing to do.
Doing it now.
Yeah, it's on right now. So basically I have what you do, Scott, there's lots of ways you can do it, but I have defined a screen. I have defined it to go after a certain part of the screen. You can have multiple screen captures. And then I've defined two audio inputs. One is the receiver output. The one is the mic output before it goes and is transmitted. My mic.
Right, okay. I don't think I would ever do it, but I thought that was it was fun looking at it.
I think it's kind of cool. For me, it works because I can go back and I can look later at something I want to see. And then others can do the same thing. They can see what their signal looks like live or go back and look at it later. I think for Sue it was kind of valuable as she's working on her Swan. It gives her some ideas.
Well, Dan, I think we need to plant some 40-foot telephone poles in your yard and get that your wire up 40 feet like Art Bell. As I know you guys all know that he passed away, but I have drove by his place. I don't remember why, but Roxanne and I did a few years back, and saw his these. I think they were like 40-foot telephone poles he had planted that had his wire hooked to.
Oh, I agree. We need to get on it right away. I think if we put
and put up a full-size rhombic.
That too.
I'm thinking I want 6 of them, and I want to put out 850 feet like the guy on last week had that sounded so good.
Boy, he had a signal.
Look like pulse heads, like the military has on each end of the diamonds, and you can steer it. Should be the king of the Northwest Territories.
Denny, and I want a legal limit amp for each end of the wire.
There's usually 600 ohm resistors on the ends.
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah.
The one the military had were. I used that one up at Camp Butler in Okinawa, on the Army Mars Station there. And 20 meters toward the States. My God, what a signal.
I was telling Scott the other day that I heard a guy on 40 meters with one of those. And he said he had it at 130 feet. I don't know how he did, but I think he said it was thousands of feet.
Yeah. Man, that's a lot of wire.
That's a lot of height.
No, on 40 meters. I mean, outside of the broadcasters on the upper end.
Oh, I believe it.
That's a lot of height. 130 feet?
Yeah, his 4 beams for 20 meters were at 200 feet.
I mean, for a guy like Scott, that's just, another day at the office. But for us, that's a pretty incredible feat.
I've seen some of those incredible ham, these towers and all this, what they've done. And, man, you just have to have money to burn to do that. I just can't imagine.
Like the guy the engineer that invented the cubical quad, they were trying to put up a religious station high in the Andes, I think Peru or something, HQ something. It was, broadcast station. But they tried using beams, and the corona would just burn the aluminum right off the tips at the power they were running. So this guy drew up a quad design and had up, and a big signal was on the air beaming toward North America. It really worked well. That's where the start of the cubicle quad.
Those were probably fun days back then, experimenting with that.
I really like them. I'm a little leery here to have one because of the weather conditions. Good on the low altitude tower.
Well, it looks like my noise floor is right about minus 110 dBm tonight.
But to work better, it should be up to about 60 feet. But it works good.
Well, depending on the band, yeah.
What'd you say, Dan?
Right 30 feet off the ground. That's 35 feet to the boom. It has that low takeoff angle, and it'll open the band first and close it last. And it's kind of a Chinese mousetrap looking thing, and I think they're pretty beautiful. My friend in Okinawa put up a 4-element one. Oh my God. Got a lot of trouble tuning it though. But it was pretty when it was first up and was all new copper wire on the elements, and it just flowed. Oh well, such is the story. Whiskey Baker 7 Echo Ball Golf, Mount Shasta, state of Jefferson.
KM6CQ.
W6DAX, Placerville.
KM6CQ. I always thought those big old four-element cubicle quads look like a big CBR antenna.
Yeah, I think they look cool.
They look like you're serious about what you're doing.
That's for sure. It's not as impressive as one of those big elephant cage ones that the military used to have, like on Okinawa and other places for listening.
A disc cone?
Yeah, those are huge.
There's one down there in Green River, Arizona, and they will let you, if you tell them you're coming, you can get one of the camping spaces there, and then they will let you hook up your radio to it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's one down there somewhere that you could hook up to it, but it's like a disc cone, or anyway, it's a good antenna.
Disc cones were used quite often. I remember there was one on the front end of the New Jersey battleship.
Yeah, it's huge.
It was pretty big.
Yeah, the one down there in Green River is, of course, a military one at one time, and it was given over to the local ham state park there, and the ham club down there at Green River maintains it. I've worked several guys on that thing before, and it's a nice signal.
I read an article in one of the ham magazines about it.
I think I'd rather have the big boom log periodic.
Yeah, I would just like to have some time on that one in Carson City once a month.
Yeah.
I think the boom's like 80 feet or something.
It looks like it could shoot a death ray.
Oh man, that looks like a great antenna. On a portable tower.
That would be the Trump antenna.
I wish I'd have took a picture of that squirrel cage one in Okinawa. That thing must be a quarter mile across diameter, and it's like 50-foot towers all the way around it.
Scott, what I said was my band noise is at minus 110 dBm tonight.
The Soviets and whatnot. With a listening post. It was run by the CIA and the different service security agencies. Anyway, just a bit of trivia, but it was huge.
Yeah, if you got the real estate and the money, boy, that'd be great.
Yeah, the government got a lot of money and a lot of real estate, put up all this stuff. I got to see the the cable. They had a cable, communications cable running under the Pacific from Okinawa to Taiwan, and I got to see where that cable came up out of the earth. You know, it came ashore, and then it went to this security center, communications center on the Army post there at Fort Buckner. And I knew the lieutenant that was in charge of it. He was KM6CQ. He's quite a character. And he took us in there one time, and that's pretty impressive. That cable is pretty large around, but you see right where it comes out of the ground and comes up into the building when they start hooking on it. It was for secure communications to Taiwan.
What is that? Is that an RF cable? What is it?
Oh, it's a regular undersea cable, like communications cable. Sheath. Probably a foot in diameter or more.
Okay.
Laid on the ocean floor. That's a pretty good drag of cable. Of course, they have the Atlantic cables that run across. I remember reading about when those were first laid.
Yeah, when they were first laid, they didn't work.
Yeah.
They didn't.
It was an interesting thing to see. And without Lieutenant Dennis there, I'd have never been able to get into this place. My son Sheldon and I went. He took us in there. He was the head of the Army Mars there in Okinawa, and he also run that department. The officer in charge of that cable facility. So short guy, but just feisty as I don't know if it's one of those little roosters. He's the one that can loan me a pair of 3500s that guaranteed contest-winning tubes match pair. Put them in mine and blew the chokes out of my SB220. They had a cathode to grid short. I was not happy with him. Anyway, he had the only repeater for Mars on that thing, so guys were converting these radios, EPROG lines and whatnot to work on that repeater. I had a prog line, so he tuned it up for me. Put on the repeater, 2-meter repeater.
You had a GE Progress line?
Yeah. I got it at one of the Mars auctions. And it was all pretty much working, but it needed to be crystalled and tuned. He had a set of crystals, and he came over to my house and tuned it up. Took him about 10 minutes. And we were, the input and output were outside of the ham band. Then you could work them, you know. And that little Heath kit, or Yaesu HB202 came out, you know, that little crystal handheld. Everybody was crystalling them for the for the Mars repeater there, because it was the only repeater we had.
I had one of those.
Yeah. I still got mine, still like new.
No kidding.
I got it, and then I brought back what was new, brand new at the time, the first synthesized handheld, which was the Yaesu FT207. And
Yep, had one of those too.
Yeah, I still have one.
I'm amazed you still have that stuff. My stuff's been gone for 30 years.
It's just sitting, you know, up in a box or in a shelf. I still have the crystals for the 202 for the Mars repeater. Oh my God. Time's gone so fast that 207, that was a big radio.
207R, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, the 207R was sold in the States, and the 207 was sold overseas.
Yeah, I
What
had the
year?
207R. It had a little LED readout. It works fine.
Got little red digits.
Yeah.
What year?
You know, at the time, it was fantastic.
Oh, probably around 1980.
80 is when we left Okinawa, and that's when I brought it back, brand new. Yeah. And I changed the batteries once, and then you know, years slipped by, and got kind of outmoded. But it was the gem of the ocean at the time when it first came out.
Like an FNB4, I remember.
Yeah, FNB4. I still got the drop-in charger with the cradle for the 207's battery pack. I got that, and it's sitting right over there. I can see it.
I'm amazed.
That's the life of a pack rat.
It is. I don't have anything that isn't used.
I have lots of things I don't even understand. I got a real nice Fluke multimeter push button, a fancy one. And it had one of the switches, slide switches on it, you know, that push in from the side, and it broke off. And I never got a replacement from Fluke, so it's hard to switch, but it works really well. Has a little kickstand on it.
Yeah, I've got a Fluke, but it's not that old, I don't think. I bought it off eBay. I think it's the 8842A.
I don't even know where mine is right now. And then I've got another Fluke that I use all the time, and it's a little I got from Procter & Gamble when I was a mechanic there, and it's a Fluke 75 auto ranging.
Yeah.
Little one. Works real well. And then I've got a Heath kit sweep generator, big monster. I don't know if it ever worked or not. I got the manual for it. I don't know how to use it anyway. Why have I got that?
Well, you've got a few things to get rid of.
Yeah, lots of things to get rid of. And I've got one of their battery eliminators. I mean, isolation transformers for plugging in the rig. AC/DC type. And that works real good, and I've used that quite a bit. Oh, the decade counters, you know, substitution boxes, and resistors. I got one of their auto Synwave generators, nice little, one of the brown and white instruments. I just, you know, want to go into it all.
You've got a good single generator, as I recall.
Yeah, I got a Boonton, good one.
That's synthesized.
I've got a little high power signal generator, or not a signal generator, voltage. You can, you know, it puts out plate voltage and, you know, different values of plate voltage and also filament voltage and all that for testing.
Well, I've got a Heath kit one of those.
I can measure the leakage on it. So that's what I did the linear here when I got it. I went through and tested every one of the capacitors, brought them up, slew. Anyway, I'm talking too much, and let me stand by a moment. WB7EGG. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're not talking too much, but I do have to get going. So nice talking to everybody, and nice hearing what your stories and what you everything from the past, Denny. So don't. I enjoy hearing you talk. So anyway, catch you guys later. N6ZQK.
See you later.
All right, my friend Scott, and you have a good one. I hope to catch you next week again.
Nice to hear you, Scott. Take care, and we will listen for you later. KM6CQ.
Yeah. See you later.
Hey, thanks for stopping in. Yeah, to me even.
I'm glad he showed up. I sent out that blanket announcement about 160, and I never hear back from him. So he shows up and asks me why I didn't call him. That was funny. He said you didn't reply. I didn't think you'd be here.
Well, you're supposed to know, John.
Well, we suspect he's listening occasionally.
Yeah, that's why I would never take a dig at him if he's not around, because he might be listening, so I would never do anything to provoke him.
He used to listen to us all in the morning on stealth when Kelly and I were going to work. He was on stealth.
He's taking notes.
Sandbagging. Bless his heart.
Well, I'm packing for Visalia tonight.
You are?
Good. That's come up already. Boy, that doesn't take long.
Is that the DX convention?
Yeah, I'm going to work till about noon tomorrow and head down.
Is that over the weekend?
Uh-huh.
Oh, good for you.
I wasn't sure if I wanted to go or not, because I still got a little bit of a cold, but I didn't go last year, and I kind of regretted it, and I thought, if I don't go, I'll just go to the office another day and work, so I might as well go.
Better go.
Sounds like fun.
It is. Every time I've gone, I've enjoyed it, so I'm going. I like sitting in the forums. I like sitting in the, I like listening to these guys tell about their DX, what do you call those things? DX expeditions. Watching their presentations. They bring these guys in that do it, the big ones.
Story. Find out all the fun things that happen that weren't fun at the time.
And I do meet these guys that I work on the air. Not so much the overseas guys, but excuse me, other guys that regional guys that I'll work on the air and chat with. I'll meet them in person, and that's fun. I enjoy that.
Yeah, I bet you do. That would be fun.
2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been 2 years since I've been there. I didn't go last year because we had just moved in here.
That's understandable. Hell yeah.
But S wants me to go too because I didn't go last year and I regretted it.
Yes, sir.
I'm really happy to hear you're going to try the SDR world.
Yeah, I'm pretty much settled on the 6400. And place were to go right under my desk there, and then it's easy antenna hookups and right next to the computer. The only problem I'll have is I might have to run it direct into the computer, and I looked at all the different ways you could hook it up, and now I know where the switch is for it, because if I send it all the way to the other one, which I'd have to run a cable out of this room across the top of the garage, over and into the office, and into the closet, and then over outer. But yeah, you have a switch because you only like the outer's only got one input. It's got a lot of outputs. You got one input, so you need a switch to hook into. But you can run it direct. Not as good, but it'll work according to them, like running it direct to the PC.
I like it better with a switch.
Well, Denny, there's another way to do it, and I've done this. Before I had my iPad, I used to take my laptop out to the garage and just do it on Wi-Fi.
Now that's what I have to do. See, I plug it into the computer here, and then by using a bridge, which they tell you how to configure that in your computer, bridge between LAN and the internet, to the wireless to the router, and that would work.
It's no more difficult than if your computer is logged onto your Wi-Fi. That's all you need.
And it is all the time.
And that's it. You don't have anything else to do.
So I kind of found that out. I said, well, that's the way we'll do it. Because I was kind of concerned about it. And like I was telling John, I was about ready to pull the trigger, and I remembered that, oh my gosh, we're going to be gone the whole month of June. If they'd ship it at that time, there'd be nobody here, and it'd be in limbo.
Send it to John's house.
Yeah, it's a John.
There you go. I'll try it.
We could do that.
Yeah, I'd keep it for you. I don't know how I'd get it up to you.
We're going to go to a hotel that'll have shuttle service to the airport. We've done it before. And they have a room for the night, and they take care of the car. Well, you leave it there they take you to the airport in the morning, whatever time you're going to be there, and then they come and get you when you come back, and you stay another night or jump in your car and come home. And we're going to stay at least a while coming back, because I want to visit our old friend Jim up there in Shingle Springs.
Oh.
Well, actually, that would work. But I hate to bother you with this. Oh, my God.
I'd be happy to do it.
I know you would, John.
Just let me know. I'd be happy to receive it. I saw Dan's, and I was surprised how big it was. It's the size of a real radio.
Yeah.
Well,
pretty blue, doesn't it, Dan?
Oh yeah, it's got a pretty blue light on it, and you can dim it.
That's going to go into the desk. Well, I have like an office computer desk, and underneath there's a sound subwoofer, and I just set it on top of that. And of course, right there's the computer, and the screen is right there.
I'll make you up a cable for your headset.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, he's had practice.
Yeah,
what kind of cable connector is on the thing?
I don't know. It's got strange mic connectors on the SDR.
Same as mine, John.
Which is what?
Yeah, Dan knows.
It was that. You're the one who soldered it together, John. It was that TRS.
Oh, okay. It's just a stereo quarter-inch jack?
Yeah. That's balanced input.
Two connections.
That's what my SS9000 is.
And then you need a separate pigtail on the side like I had for PTT.
Yeah,
why would you need a separate pigtail?
RCA jack, plug jack.
You have that in the box that I built.
Yeah. Also, the Omni has quarter-inch for speaker output.
Or are you saying you're using tip and ring for mic high and low, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what Dan uses. I'm sorry.
And wasn't that it? You were using for mic high and low, and then shield was to the barrel?
Yeah, and then PTT high and low was on that separate RCA female jack that came out of the back of that.
And he took a deep fade there.
Yeah, he's gone.
Oh, did I? Let's see. Oh, sorry.
Your power disappeared.
Hang on.
Yeah.
That was because I coughed and I overloaded my amp.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
I mean, gone.
Well, I loaded the latest software into this one today.
What'd you find out?
I don't know. It looks the same to me. It probably has something else in it.
It's probably got a bunch of new features buried in there you've yet to discover.
It still has the same number of noise breakers and stuff, so I don't know. I really don't know. It's always a surprise.
Well, you'll find it. Eventually you get to it.
Christmas every day. Well, every once in a while.
Well, Denny.
I love this little radio. I got to say, it's great.
I know you do like it. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
It is, Denny. It really is.
Well, Denny, when you get that thing, if you need some help, I'll be glad to come up for a weekend and Elmer you.
Oh, I'd be glad to have you, Dan, any time, but for sure.
But you'll enjoy it. It's simple to use and it works great. I wish mine was working when John was here. Speaking of working great.
Oh.
Oh, it's working fine now.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you play with it.
I'd like to play with it, but you know they're a very nice radio. Whether it's the Flex or the Anna, they're both nice pieces.
Yes, they are.
Is that the Flex? They had a model down there in the chicken farmer range.
That's actually a really good idea. I mean, they needed to do that. Cannon used to do that, but it's not there anymore.
What was that? Did I miss?
That's a shame, too.
He said, what did you call it? The chicken farmer range? He's talking about the low dollar range for a good SDR.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Made it possible for me. Well, it's possible for me. I just wouldn't.
I mean that's a lot of money. I've only got a little over $1,000 in this one.
Yeah, so it's darn good. Not bad. When you get to $6,000-7,000, well, that gets a little spendy, as they say up here.
Oh yeah, that's way out of my class.
Too much.
I can't. That comes along with an 8,000-foot antenna. You got money to burn at that point.
Well, guys, let's just run on in and see what Mama's doing and spend some time. By the way, this is our anniversary of our first date. We had our first date together in 1964 in August. Oh, no, on April, this date, our first date.
Wow, that's a long time, Denny.
Congratulations, Denny.
Yeah. So we went out for dinner last night and just to kind of celebrate it.
1964.
Yeah. And we went out our first time on this date, and then we were married in August 29th.
I was an only child in 1964.
Yeah, well.
The other three hadn't come along yet.
Yeah.
I was 2.
You were still wearing diapers, man.
I was. Probably had an attitude by then, though.
I graduated in 1961. So.
I don't think I was even a concept then.
You weren't even a gleam in the old man's eye, huh? As the old saying goes.
I think Scott was born in 59.
Well, he's older than that.
I was in high school or just getting in. Junior high, somewhere.
I'm not touching that one.
Oh, I was probably a sophomore, junior.
You're right, John. I shouldn't judge a book by its cover.
Oh.
Hey, I did learn to read, mostly.
1964, wow.
Yeah, married 64.
All right, Denny. Congratulations, like I said. All right, we'll look for you this weekend.
Too bad.
Okay, Denny. Great talking to you tonight. I'm glad you were able to get on.
Thank you. And you too, Dan, and you too, John. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you.
The Saturday gang, too, and Sunday gang, and the holiday gang. And Just like family. So you guys all take care, and we'll talk with you then. WB7EGG Mouse, listening out. State of Jefferson, still here.
And the top of the line Flex, that's still the 6700?
Yes, it is. They haven't replaced that one.
Oh, yours is the 66, but the 67 replacement should be coming.
Yeah, and the biggest difference between mine and that is there's a 2 meter, I don't know if it's a transceiver built into it or just a 2 meter transverter in there or what's going on, but you can get on 2 meters with it and hit repeaters.
Yeah, Buses has that in it. I don't think he ever uses it, but it's there.
Yeah. At the time that was out, the main attraction to that radio was, I think, mostly the fact that it had 2 spectral capture units in it. And then the other thing was the 2 meter section in it. But that was the only SDR at the time with 2 spectral capture units in it.
Have they talked about doing equivalent the pure signal like I'm running here?
They are. They said it's on the list to get done. But they were talking about that in the 65 and the 63, and then they came out with new radios before they even got to it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what their motivation was. I think they knew what ICOM was doing, so they had to do a price drop. And maybe the best way to do that was to just introduce a new radio or something. I don't know. Or maybe they learned a lot from making their first 2 6000 series, and they knew what they wanted to do.
Well, anyway, at least they have something in a lower price category that still will work well.
Yeah, I think that the entry-level model it's almost fair to call it an entry-level model because it's really not an entry-level radio at all.
Yeah. Was there somebody else in here?
Yeah, I said I hear voices. Good evening. K6JR.
Oh, hey, Jim. Good evening.
Hey, howdy. Hey, where do you live down there in Washoe?
Off of Eastman Boulevard.
Okay. Frank K7SFN lives off of there also. I don't remember the name of the street, but you can look him up on QRZ. It's K7SFN. You should have probably noticed his beam on top of his tower as you're driving up and down.
He's about 1.5 miles from me to the south.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, I have Taco Tuesday with him just about every Tuesday, and a bunch of other guys.
Well, I know of Frank, but I've never met him.
Yeah, he said that he hadn't met you either, so I asked him if he knew you, and he said no, he didn't recall ever meeting you.
Well, you guys need to invite me to Taco Tuesday sometime, and we'll all get acquainted.
Well, yeah, we wander around. Sometimes we're at Los Compadres, sometimes we're at Bullies on the south end, and the Blitz Bar and Grill. That's where we were this last Tuesday. So we tried to spread the wealth around. Well,
you don't want to become a creature of habit and do the same place all the time.
That's true. Hello over there, John. Sounding good.
Yeah, you're sounding good too.
Yeah, my first 6500 Flex actually had the 2 BNCs on the back for doing the pure signal. That's how close they were to doing it, but then they, for whatever reasons, decided that it didn't need to be done. It's on the list of things that maybe might happen sometime.
Yeah. Well, I had a 6500 also, so I don't know if mine had those ports on it or not.
Yeah, if it wasn't one of the first series, it probably did not, because my 6500 that I have now does not. My 67, of course, does not. Actually, I heard you asking John about the 66. The 66 is actually a better receiver than the 67. It's got better pre-selectors in it, but they still have the 67 and still selling them for the folks that want the 2-meter, and you can get 6 slices up on the screen, which there's actually some guys that do that. I don't know how, but they do it. And the other thing that's a little different about it, its receiver is about just a little bit better than the 65, but it is definitely not as good as the 66.
I did not know that. I knew. I noticed when I got my 6600 the difference in the preamps. Not that I ever use them, but they're there, that weren't present in the 6500. I think I've got 3-stage preamp, and I think the 6500 had 2. Is that right?
Oh, I've got all 3 of them, so I don't I don't remember which ones got which. The new software did add an additional stage on the 67. I think it added an additional stage on the 65, as I recall. I'm going to be headed up to my 6500 that's up in Oregon here Friday, so I'll check it out.
Oh, that's maybe what I saw was a difference then. Yeah, and I almost always leave my attenuator turned on because these days I'm almost always on the lower bands.
Yeah, I don't use any preamps in the lower bands. I don't use an attenuator because I don't have any noise here to attenuate.
Well, I'm going to go down and see Gerald and Steve this weekend in Visalia, Jim, so I'll ask him about that.
That's it.
I'm sorry, I doubled with you, John.
Not a big deal.
I heard both of you with my stereo speakers here.
Well, it doesn't get any better than that, Jim.
You gotta be ambidextrous.
I do plan to ask them, though, about what kind of additions they may put on the inside of the 6600 and 6400s, because when I had the top off, it's all modular, and there's all kinds of space in there.
Well, that was part of their cost savings. I don't know, since you don't have 2 of them there to judge by, but my 6700 weighs twice as much as the 6600, even though the 6600 is in a bigger box.
I don't remember my 6500 being heavy, but I never weighed it.
The new ones are lighter, and they made the box a little bigger for cooling purposes, be able to use some more economical fans that actually move more air and stuff like that. So that's how they were able to reduce the price, was going modular.
Oh, I see. I do like what they did with the cooling fan. Since they had a bigger box, they put a bigger fan in there that moves at a slower revolution. I like that idea.
Yeah, that's nice. I guess some people were having problems with the fans.
Very clean.
Or I should say, a lot of people in the 6500s. And I don't know, probably the 67, they probably used the same fans in there, and they were some oddball thing that people couldn't get.
What did you say, John?
I don't remember. It wasn't a big deal.
No.
I should have said there was a lot of room inside. And the construction was good.
Yeah, it looks very neat and orderly.
Yeah, I liked it.
I never had my cover off of the 6500.
Yeah, I have not either, or the 6700.
I never...
It looked like all the construction of the panels were, you know, like a computer, all steel. So it's going to weigh more.
Which one are you referring to, John?
66.
No, it actually weighs less.
I know you said it weighs less, but it's still steel construction.
Yeah, I don't know what they left
that hold the boards.
But there is a hefty difference between my 6700, which is a smaller box, and the 6600M.
Both 100 watts, right?
Yes, sir.
What about? I didn't look at your fins, Dan. What did they have for the PA?
I don't know, John.
The fan was, you know, pretty decent size. It's like a computer fan.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. I think it's a 140 millimeter 12-volt fan that they run at 7 volts. It's a PWM.
Pulse width modulated.
Yeah, so they can vary the RPM as needed, I guess.
Yep. It's like a computer. I think there's at least one of those in this one. Never hear it run.
I think there were two in my 6500, but I might be mistaken. I think there was one on each side of the cabinet.
Those would have to be pretty small. Did they use one of those specialized squirrel cage type fans?
They were small. I don't know. I think Jim was saying they were an oddball size and nobody could find them.
Yeah, I believe they were little pancake fans, but yeah, the company that made them wouldn't sell you just one, and so some of the guys were getting together and buying 100 of them and sorting them out amongst themselves, and Flex was stocking them, but the average Joe couldn't even get one.
Well, why were they buying them? They shouldn't be failing them in the short time they've been built.
These are the 6500s we're talking about.
I know, but that's still a pretty new product.
Oh, what, 3 years old, I guess so. But yeah, I agree. And so did all the people that had fans that failed agreed that they shouldn't have been failing. But yeah, it was just a bad product.
Yeah, there must be. And of course, Dan's failed in just hours. But typically for a non ball bearing fan, sleeve type bearing should last about 30,000 hours. There's 8,760 hours in a year.
Yeah, well, he's definitely died prematurely. So, Dan, what failed on your fan?
Well, I think it was the bearing in the fan itself, because you could see where it was trying to turn and you could help it turn. But before that happened, I had already contacted Flex and told them there was a problem with it because of the noise it was making, and I sent them a video of it. And they thought it might have been a...
Guys got the first ones off the shelf, had a problem that during shipment, I guess the cable would, some cable in there, some wire in there would get in the blade of the fan, so they, on the ones after the first couple of weeks, I think they were making sure all those wires got tied down.
That's initially what they suspected was the issue with mine, but it was the actual bearing in the fan.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
You know, Gerald did comment on it, because I put it on the forum when I was looking for ideas, And Gerald did comment on it and say that they've used this same fan since 2007 in the Flex 5000s and had an extremely low failure rate on the fan itself, so they were kind of surprised.
I think they're like, their bushings are like Olin bearings where they, you know, heat the bearings and the foils inside of them.
Yeah, I could have very easily just bought one off of Amazon that I wanted to put in, but I didn't want to mess with it. I just sent it to them.
They get it back to you fairly quickly?
2 weeks. They sent me a UPS brown label. So when they asked me for a return shipping address, I told them I'd like it overnighted, so they sent it UPS blue.
Very good. Yeah, they're pretty good about things that fail like that, getting them fixed right away.
Yeah, they actually put it on their bench from what I could see on a Wednesday and shipped it back out on Friday. So they expedited it once they got it in there, but I think since it failed right out of the box, they should have overnighted it both ways, but they didn't.
Yeah, if it would have been Kenwood, Yaesu, or ICOM, they would have said, send it up here on your dime.
Yeah, I've been there before.
And when we get around to it, we'll send it back to you.
Yep, and the owner of the company sure wouldn't have been talking to me about it.
Yeah, well, actually, if he did, you might not have been able to understand him.
Yeah, that's probably true. I'm satisfied though overall with the product, and it's working. It's fine.
Very good.
I'm sure Denny will like his.
I think he will. It wouldn't hurt him to buy the one with the knobs if he thinks he wants to go that direction.
That's what he's... oh, no, he's not doing it. That's what I thought he was going to do. I guess he saw my post.
Extra $1,000.
Yeah, I think if I wanted the knobs, I would have just bought the external control head and went that route.
Well, Maestro, yeah, I have one of those already. So, yeah, I quite honestly don't use the knobs on my S6600M. I prefer the screen with the sliders.
Yep, exactly. I like my big screens. And to me, that's a feature of the radio, not having to look at a small display and be restricted to the knobs.
Yeah, I just did it in case someday down the road I want to lug it in an RV or take it over to somebody's place. I don't have to drag along a computer.
It's a good idea. I went out and bought a new iPad instead of buying a Maestro or knobs. That's kind of what I wanted it because it's multi-purpose. And I'd been using the app on my phone with the 6500 for a long time, so I knew it would be fine.
Yeah, very good. Oh, I'm going to meander downstairs. Good to hear you guys, and you have a good evening, and have fun over there at Visalia.
All right, Jim. Well, thanks for stopping by tonight, and your signal looks very good, by the way. Of course, you already know that.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, have a good trip. John, good to hear you. Have a good evening, 7-3. KM6CQ.
See you later, Jim. Great signal. Always nice to hear you.
So you didn't get on the call-ins tonight, John?
No. I was hoping I'd get my my parts, but they didn't show up. I just ran the SDR. I didn't know whether we were going to be on 160 or 60.
Oh, well, that's a safe bet. The Annan is.
Oh, this is one of 2 radios now that I have. This is all that'll do 60. Everything else does 160, so that's great.
Yeah. I guess the Collins doesn't do 60, does it?
Oh, no. It doesn't. It does. It has a position for a band that I'll never use. It was very popular in the 50s, 11 meters.
Well, maybe you could make that a 60-meter position.
It runs off the 10-meter coils.
Oh, I see.
Transmitter even has, it'll transmit on 11 as well.
Really?
Yeah, it's 600 watts output if you had the power supply for it.
Well, I guess back then it was an amateur band, wasn't it?
I really don't know.
At least that's what I've heard.
But that was included in it. And I would think they should have included 160, and I wouldn't have had to build that.
Yeah. You would have traded the 11 meter for that any day.
You betcha. But yeah, when I get that next iteration, maybe I'll give you a call and I'll try it out. But it might not be till after I get back.
Okay, well, whenever you're ready, John. I don't think I'm gonna
try that out. I'm hoping everything. I hope I can keep the sideband the same. It should work out that way. The sideband should be lower sideband. And then it should also tune the correct direction.
Yeah, it should sound like it does on the other bands at that point.
Right now it's backwards, but we will see how it works out. I'm actually not unhappy with the way it works now, but hey, it'd be kind of fun to take it to the next level.
Yeah, it would be. You know, to make it work could be. And then I'm sure it'll sound just like it does on 80.
I'm not sure it will, but I hope it does.
Well, we'll see. You'll be able to hear it too.
Yeah. I'm going to take and make some. Well, I've got the whole thing apart. I'll probably change a couple of the biasing arrangements for the drivers. That I'm pushing it into Class A a little too hard, so I'm going to back it off a little. It's still going to be Class A, but no need to go as far as I've gone. So I'll fix that. It just the reason I'll change it is because it'll just make it that much more reliable.
Yep. Sounds like that's something you would do too.
Yeah. Works the best it can work. So if I do, find another N antenna, I might buy one if it comes up at the right price. But boy, this thing's been great.
Yeah. Well,
everything eventually it will break.
That's true. Sometimes right out of the box.
That's the best way. I mean, it's irritating, but it's going to have it break in the first few weeks of operation.
Exactly. Well, I don't think I'm going to come home with any new gear this weekend. I think I'll probably come home with some heat shrink and ring terminals, and I guess I could use some more Anderson power poles, so I'll probably get some of those kinds of things down there.
I don't blame you. Get things you need. I've actually taken things out of my search. So I'm not really looking for anything else.
You know what I think I will buy is because they always have a show price. I think I'll buy one of those Bieno Power batteries, a little 6 ampere hour that I could take with my KX2, just for extra power.
Well, I thought you had a bigger one.
I do. It's a 20 amp per hour, and I don't want to carry that around with a KX2.
It's that big?
It's kind of heavy. It's bigger than the KX2 is.
Yeah, I would think so.
If I find a small one, about a 5 or 6 amp per hour, that should be plenty, because the internal battery is, I think, 2200 or something like that. No, maybe it's a little more. And it lasts pretty well. The radio only uses 150 mils on receive, and between 1 and 2 amps on transmit, depending on what you're doing.
Well, then the battery's probably what is it? A double A nickel metal hydride?
I think it's a 4-cell battery, John. And yeah, it's NiMi.
Yeah, because 20 double A size is nickel. 2,000 milliampere hours is pretty standard.
I was gonna say I thought it was like 2,700, but then I thought, that might sound too high.
Well, it actually might. Yeah, I mean, they do make them that high. But I don't think they make them any higher than that in double A size. By the way, I did order some nickel metal hydride, and I modified the circuit for that Heathkit clock, which was very simple, and it's now, trickle charging those batteries.
Oh, good.
So that should be the last set of batteries that end up in there for at least a decade.
That you ever have to do. 2.6 amp per hour. Okay, so it's 2,600.
Looked at that. I mean, even in their literature, they said, that it batteries should last the shelf life. And I looked at it and I said, there's no way. It's got a 22,000 ohm resistor and a 10,000 ohm resistor, and it's across the circuit all the time. So, it's drawing 100 microamperes all the time.
Oh, yeah, so it's not going to last.
No, I mean, a really decent memory circuit draws less than a microampere.
That's like 100 times.
Microampere would be better.
That's like 100 times over.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's way too much. That's the same kind of current that the Heathkit SS9000 used on double A batteries, and why they would fail in a year and leak.
Well, that clock's probably about the same generation or same era.
Oh, I mean, the SS9000 is 1981 or 2. And actually, in our mobile phones, we were building in the 70s a static RAM that used less than a microampere. So this was kind of the technology they used in the SS9000 was really the kind of technology you would use in something that was powered by DC all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Something like a mobile where DC was present and you weren't caring about it because it's always there.
Yeah, you didn't have to worry about conserving.
Right, so not something like they did. But, in fact, that same device, the 5100L, was used in a Harris mobile phone that I repaired quite often. And, it was kept alive by the 12-volt source, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, that changes things.
It does. So, and the stuff we built was half of the products were attaché phones, so they were running on battery. You don't want to have anything else that draws excessive current. So that's the way we did it. Anyway, I will let you go. It's good to talk to you, and you have fun at Visalia. And when do you come back? Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday morning. I'm going to come back after breakfast.
Sounds good. You gonna have the radio on or not?
Yeah, I'll send you a text when I leave tomorrow. We could check in occasionally if you want to.
Yeah, it might be fun.
All right, if you're available, I will be.
Okay, you leaving in the morning or when?
I'm going to leave about noon.
Okay.
I'm going to leave right from the office and head straight down.
Okay, sounds good, Dan. I'll look forward to it.
Great talking to you, John. And, of course, your Annan sounds great as always.
Oh, thanks. I do like the little radio.
Does a good job for you.
Yep, I'm happy. I'll catch you later, W6DAX.
Good night, John, KM6CQ.
Night.